Hi there, day four. This is like take two because it it took me a literal minute to work out how many years I had this for. I was explaining that so chronic fatigue syndrome, living with this, day four. However, it might be a bit misleading. This isn't my fourth day with chronic fatigue syndrome. This is my fourth day of filming. Um, I've had it for 25 years. Yes, all right, 20 plus years. Um, so just a little while, longer than some people have been alive and shorter than some people have been alive. It sounded much more clever in my head. Um, there's always lots to share. The thing about sharing stuff is that for the most part, when you share something, the value and the weight is generally with yourself. And then the weight with someone else is whether or not they can um, align with it, or what's the word? If they can, ah, welcome to CFS, or if they can, there's a word there where you're like, oh yeah, that's me. Like they link with it. People like to use the word resonate, but it's not the word I'm looking for. It'll come after I finish this video. It'll bug me. Anyway, so sharing things, which is always why I've kind of like been hesitant sharing things, because if I say I'm tired, for me to say I'm tired, I'm not tired. I'm way over. Like my tired line was, you know, 40k back that way. I passed that line ages ago to normal tired. And my tired is like, um, it's like tired plus 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 plus. Anyway, so one thing I'll share is because I had this so young. Not a lot of I don't know if I've told anyone this. This might be the first time I've ever shared it with someone, or not. Or if I have shared it, it'd be with like only one or two people. But what I wanted to share was, so I was diagnosed with this when I was a child, and I had health issues leading up to it. Anyway, so my whole life I've had something like this. It boggles my mind that you can have people who don't feel tired, who can have a sleep and wake up refreshed. Like, it's a myth, but apparently people get to live that myth. People who don't have headaches all the time, or they'll be talking and then like next moment there's a blank screen. Like I just can't remember what I'm talking about. Um, so it does my head in that those people exist, and I know they exist. Like they're out there. They're most people. But so as a child, I got this, and there were always these big moments. Um, several big moments. I remember when I was 14, I had a big moment. 14ish, had a big moment. When I was really little, I had this big moment that I'm going to share, and then all throughout this, I had moments that may not have seemed big, but they were pivotal because um, how I how I learned how to deal with pain kind of adversely affected me down the track, and so I had to retrain the training that I needed to survive the pain at that time. So I'll share that one another time. Anyway, um, so I was a child, and something that really hit me one day was I'd had this for I don't know how long. I don't remember the specifics like leading up to or out of it. I just remember this day, this moment where I realized as a child that my mum and dad couldn't help me feel better. Like they couldn't take it away. It was like it was here. And that really hit me. There's no real way for me to describe how much that hit me. But you can imagine you're a child. When you get sick, what do? You go to your mum and dad. They rub it and it gets better. They give you some medicine and it gets better. You go to bed. You feel sick. You wake up. You're better. Um, so, what do you do if you don't feel well? You go see your mum and dad. What do mum and dad do? They make you feel better. Or they'll tell you to go lie down and you'll get better. And it's like, oh my goodness, it's amazing. Anyway, so the day I realized that my parents um, weren't going to make me better, weren't going to like get me better, I wasn't able to go to them and like, hey, I feel sick. Oh, all right, we'll go to the doctor, and the doctor will see you and you feel better. That was a really huge moment. That's not like I'd hate for anyone to think that I'm putting my parents down. Like, there's nothing you can do. If you've got a child with CFS or fibromyalgia syndrome or any sort of illness like that, and it's an incurable thing, there's nothing you can do other than do your best. So please don't think that there's any, like I'm saying that it reflects poorly on them. They did an amazing job. There is no book on how to raise a child with CFS who would become a future martial art master and business person and stuff like that. There's no book on that. They did brilliantly there. However, as a child, when you realize it, it's a really huge moment. Like it's a huge impact. It's just, I remember just being stunned, like, oh, it's not going to happen. And then, stuff happens and you move on with your life. But yeah, I just want to share that. It was a really huge moment. I'll usually try and learn about myself to find out how things affect me and stuff like that. And with that one, all I remember is that it was a big moment. I'm not too sure how that affected me moving on, though it's quite possible it led to my, I've got to find a way of fixing myself. I've got to find a way of repairing myself, of getting stronger. Like, I've got to find a way, as opposed to, oh no, no one can help me. I don't really care that no one can help me. It's not an issue. I don't go looking on the internet for the latest cures of CFS. I don't care about that. Like if there's going to be a cure for CFS, we'll all hear about it. I won't have to do any research. We'll hear about it. Or my mum will come barging into the room, like forget the phone, like barging into the room, like, hey, there's a cure. Like, okay, I've had that one before, but all right. So it's not that, but I did choose I'm going to make the most of what I can do and I will move forward. So yeah, really, really big moment. Like I said, I haven't really shared that. I could most probably make it a bit more poetic and that, but yeah, it's just, as a child, when you realize that can't be taken away. And I'm sure that as an adult, if you get CFS or any other form of long-term illness, as an adult, when you realize, like, my traditional ways of getting better of, I'm ill, I go to the doctor says this, I get better. And that must have a hard impact for adults as well. Like, I imagine it'd be quite a mind warp to be well and then not be well. Because then you're like, oh, I once used to be able to do this and now I can't. So that would play awfully on your mind. Whereas with me, it was always, no, I've always been ill, and that plays on your mind in another way. It's like, it's a constant fight, it's a constant struggle, it's a constant uphill climb with no relief in sight. So I'm not saying one's worse than the other, it's just they're both such a mind warp. So yeah, if you got CFS when you're an adult and you had a, oh, the doctors can't help me moment, it's okay. Okay? It doesn't sound okay, it doesn't feel okay, much better doesn't look okay, but it doesn't mean the end of the world. It just means your traditional resources aren't going to help you. But that doesn't mean that there's not resources that can help you. You've just got to go hunt them down. Okay? And remember to, like, continue to do the breathing thing and the heart beating thing and the moving forward thing. Do something moving forward. Don't get stuck in the, oh, I'm sick now, or oh, I've always been sick now, or oh, no one can help me. No, who cares? Move on. Enjoy life. All right. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave a comment, like or subscribe wherever I've stuck this video. And if we're on YouTube, put the little bell thing. And yeah, thank you very much for letting me share day 4.